Welcome to another episode of the Bamboo Season Podcast. I'm your host, sober wellness coach Dorian Wormsley, and this podcast is sponsored by Dorian Wormsley Wellness, a sobriety and fitness wellness business that is here to help you build a strong body and a clear mind. Before we hop into today's guest, I wanted to remind you that on October 27th, Sunday, I'm having a breast cancer awareness charity event. It is titled Pink Party 2024. We are raising money for a local nonprofit here in Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Breast Cancer Warriors. We'll be doing low intensity activities, having fun, community. We have a goal of $7,000. The link is in the description. If you can't make it, please donate 5, 10, anything goes towards the cause to help raise money. Now, today's guest is a pastor, a mother, a transformational speaker. I met her a few months ago through a mutual friend. And on our first phone call, this woman blew me away with her speaking capabilities. Let's make her shy. Let's make her blush. Welcome, Dr. Amy Rucker.
Hey.
How are you, Amy?
Listen, I am amazing. How are you?
I'm feeling good. The week's been, the year, it's already October 3rd. Before you know it, it's going to be Thanksgiving.
It is.
And then 2025. I still living in 2020 lockdown.
Jeez.
So Amy, you are a doctor. What is your doctorate in?
Pastoral counseling.
And how long have you been a pastor?
Oh, over a decade.
Wow, 10 years being a
10
pastor.
years, yeah.
Now, being a pastor, how did you even, let's just track into who is Amy Rucker? How did you get started into being a pastor?
Well, I never woke up and decided that I wanted to be a pastor. I was more so doing like what you're doing, where you're out in the community, changing lives. I had a personal growth and development company where I was helping women who wanted to take their lives to the next level, helping them get the tools that they needed in order to do so. And so, but I was always in church. So one day serving in church, I was helping a friend that had a ministry in Vegas, but they weren't from Vegas. They were from another city.
Yeah.
And one day, this gentleman just threw me the keys and was like, you take the church. Let me see if you can do it. So my mission to be sent out to be a pastor was not with somebody wishing me well, not with somebody saying, you got this, I know that you can do this. No, it was like, let me see if you think you can do it? Let me see. And so I remember asking God, am I going to do this? And he said, yeah, because I could have easily went back to my previous church and God was like, no, you're going to do this. And the crazy thing about that story is we were leasing or subleasing another person's building.
Yeah.
And I asked the pastor, I went to the pastor and said, hey, do you mind if I use your building? So now I was getting ready to shift everything. I did all the paperwork, changed every single thing. And then this is what happened. I go in the day he agreed to let me use his seats, his podiums, all of his stuff. I go in, nothing's there. Not a seat, not a chair, not a podium. After we had just agreed upon it on Wednesday, I go in Saturday to change it
quick.
up.
Wow.
And nothing was in there because he was getting ready to actually close his church.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, can I just rent all your stuff from you? And he was like, yeah. We shook hands. I'm like, okay, God, I'm ready. I go and nothing. And I'm like, God, I thought you said that I was supposed to do this. And he was like, you are. And so the church down the street lent me chairs. And I went to Guitar Center and bought just a music stand and a PA system. And that's how we had our first service.
Won't he do it?
But I never asked to be a pastor.
Okay, and then where did this occur? Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Georgia, but I've been here long enough to say I'm from Vegas.
Okay, Atlanta?
No, a city called Toccoa. It's like an hour away from Atlanta.
Never heard of it. Okay. And then what eventually brought you to Vegas?
My family's here. My mom.
Okay.
My mom's side's here, and so I came when I was younger, so I had no choice. It wasn't like I asked to. I was just coming with my family.
And when you began the pastor route, how long into it were you before you moved here to Vegas?
No, I was already here.
Oh.
Yeah, I had already went to high school,
Okay.
all of that before. I was minding my business when God was like, yep, let's change the trajectory of your life. And I was like, what? Like I was totally in the marketplace. I was in church, but I was in the marketplace. Business expos, business events, around business people, just all marketplace. And God was like, no, I got something different for you.
And not only are you a pastor, you're also a transformational speaker.
Absolutely.
If you could touch on exactly what, because I never even knew heard of that term or anything until I met you and you mentioned that to me. So what is exactly a transformational speaker?
A transformational speaker is one that can go into any atmosphere and shift it.
Ooh.
It is a person that I can walk into your environment and I'm the thermometer. If I open my mouth, something's happening.
Ooh.
Something's going to shift. Something's going to move. Something. And so it's one of those things where when I talk to anybody, once I'm done talking to you, there's going to be a shift. There's going to be something that happened. There's going to be a seed planted. You're going to know, what did I just encounter? What just happened? So, yeah.
And with the transformational speaking, so the pastor came first, being a pastor first.
Yeah.
And then at what point did you decide, okay, I'm going to dive into the speaking realm and become a transformational speaker?
I think it kind of happened because, remember I said I was already in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And so I knew what God had for me was bigger than just a church.
Mm.
I knew that the people that I was going to reach, they didn't just go in churches. They were in malls. They were in businesses. They were in boardrooms. They were in the trenches. They were the people doing the work like what you're doing. So I knew my voice was not just needed for the spiritual purpose, but I need the people that will probably never hear about God, but they need to hear it from my mouth in a way where they're like, wait, what happened? Because you can encounter God without me ever mentioning him.
Mm.
I could just give you light. I could give you what it is that God has put in me, and you'll be like, whoa, what just happened? Because you draw them first. I always tell people, you don't just clean a fish before you catch it. You first got to catch it. So I just deposit seeds, and it slowly transforms your life without you even knowing.
Oh, wow. Man, that was powerful right there. Just the way you put that together. And then with the transformational speaking, what are some of the type of stages and stuff you speak on currently now? Is there any kind of particular niche of people you speak to, or?
Yeah, so of course it's the merge, right? It's the people that they still are faith-based, but they have businesses.
Okay.
That their ministry is their business. Their ministry is in the marketplace. And so that's how they help the kingdom of God by what? By helping people produce wealth, helping people have products that people need, services, whatever the case may be. And so as it relates to them, that's my niche. It's the people that you're probably here. So you're at one level, but you're ready to take it up a notch, but you love God. And how can I pull God into the very thing that without first compromising it,
mm-hmm.
and without losing it? Because you don't have to do one or the other. Some people want you to let go of all of this in order to do this, but I can merge them beautifully into a marriage. And so I'm that person that helps you, hey, let's bring them both together and get the best of both worlds.
Ooh. Speaking of marriage, have you been married before?
I have.
Okay. Are you currently married?
I'm not.
Okay.
I was married for quite some time,
How long?
and you too nosy. Look
I'm
at
very
he all in my business.
nosy.
It might be a thing out there watching now.
There we go.
Listen.
You right here. You about to catch him. You about to merge him into your life, like you said.
Listen,
you about to
I
hear.
was married for a while, for a couple years,
Okay.
almost a decade. So yeah,
One marriage, two marriage?
just one, just one.
And how long have you been separated or?
Divorced for 4 years now.
Okay. And then, go ahead, continue, sorry.
No, just woke up one day and I didn't just wake up one day. I knew I was getting ready to leave. I had already planned the exit strategy.
Oh, wow.
Women, y'all gonna have to come back for that one.
Hold up. So, okay, hold up. How long before you took the exit was your exit strategy in place?
Oh man, it was already a few months. I already knew.
Oh, really?
I'd already start shifting.
Bank
Y'all go
accounts.
listen. I don't want to get attacked on the internet.
You
but
going
yes,
to?
I had already started shifting everything that I needed to shift. One thing that men have to realize when you're paying attention to a relationship, it's not when a woman is talking that you worry. It is when she begins to go quiet that you really get scared, because now she's moving different. I don't know what she's thinking. I don't know what she's doing. And in the process, he never paid attention to Matt that I was speaking less and less and less because I was strategically moving in a different way. It wasn't another man. And I was finding myself more in the feet of God than I was in the presence of him. And it had nothing to do with, because a lot of people are like, oh, you must be with somebody else. Nope. I began to start going to the gym. He didn't pay attention to that shift. I began to spend less, and I was you heard me talking more about investing and shifting, and never paid attention to the subtle moves. So it was happening, and he was living in the process of it and never even caught it.
Wait a minute. Okay, so let me ask you this. During that process, right, of your shift, you're making all these moves. What was the dynamic in the house between you two? Was he still waking up in the morning, hey, babe, have a good day, kiss on the cheek, whatever? Or was it sleeping
I
in
still
different
did
bed.
that. I still did my
come on,
part.
man. Come on, bruh. Come on.
Listen,
what?
the day he had to leave, I cooked breakfast in bed.
Oh, you toxic. Hold up. We need to talk about the toxicity here. Hold up. What? Where was the communication that women want? Where was all...
Listen, I was still doing, as a wife, I was still doing what I was supposed to do as a wife. And so, yeah, the dynamics in the house.
You made him his last meal.
His last meal, the day he had to go. And washed his clothes and had it all packed downstairs. Do not air this.
Oh.
You can air it.
That's like a Tyler Perry movie.
The pastor, I know. Listen.
Okay, and so then after a few months passed, all this stuff happened, you cook him dinner, all that. What was the reaction of him? Like, was he shocked? Obviously shocked, but...
Yeah. But here's the thing. It wasn't a sudden attack.
Yeah.
I had already told him the month before. I said, hey, on this day, you have to go.
Oh.
So I told him,
okay.
I gave him 30 days, and I said, hey, this day you have to go. But because I was still doing everything that a wife does.
He thought it was cool.
He thought it was a joke. And because I had never left before. But I had already spent my time in prayer. Remember, I told you I was at the feet of God.
Yeah.
And so I'd already got permission because in the church world, divorce is like death.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, God can't use you if you. So I had already asked. I had already told God, I said, listen, I'm getting ready to make the biggest decision of my life, and I will not do it without you. So I need your clarity on this, that I'm making the right move. And so that is when it didn't come right away. It took me I sat on the side of the bed 30 days straight, and I would just put my head down and say, God, I'm still waiting for your answer. And then when he said, if you go or if you stay, I'll honor it. And then he said this, if you stay, you cannot mistreat him, because what's the point of staying with somebody while making them miserable at the same time? And so I decided that I wanted my peace more than I wanted the marriage.
Wow. Okay, let me ask you this. When those moments come, right? Like you said, edge of the bed and somebody spoke to you, is it a voice?
I know the voice of God because I walk with him. It's almost like if I talk to you all the time, I know how you sound. You could be in a crowd of people and I would distinctly know that that's not you talking. We all have a voice image. I know what you would say, and I know I'm like, nah, that don't. Have you ever heard somebody say that don't sound like him, or that don't sound like something?
Yeah, that don't sound like Lorraine.
Because we know the voice, and so God will come to you in a voice that's common to you. It could be, so we have our voice, God's voice, the enemy's voice, and the voices of everybody else, crowds, our core, and our circles, right? Different people, but you have to be able to quiet all of those. And sometimes it'll come by way of somebody coming to you and just saying something random that they wouldn't even know you were praying about. It could come with something you read. It can, because see, God can speak through anything. If he can make, the Bible says that I can make the rocks cry out. Imagine who he could use or what he could just, something could just happen in the sky and it'd be like, get out. And you'd be like, what? Like I just happened to, and it'll come to you subtly. So that's how you kind of can hear and tell.
Interesting.
And it's not loud. It's very subtle.
And with your ex-husband, you guys had a kid together or no?
We didn't.
No?
We didn't, but I did have a baby, and that's her papa. And one thing I will say is I commend him for that, because when we split, he never left her life.
Oh, wow.
Because he's been around her for the last decade. So she's 12, and he came when she was 2.
Okay.
And so, yeah, he has been amazing in that regards. I couldn't take nothing away from him.
Your daughter now's 12. When she was 2, or before you met your husband, what about her father? Was he around in her life? What was that relationship like?
He has been absent. He had been, he's around though. They have a relationship. She's old enough to call, text. And so now they do have that relationship. Anytime he would come, I would make sure that they had that time to go spend, and I would leave her with him. And so at the beginning he was kind of there, but I already knew, because when I got pregnant with her, God told me that he wasn't my husband. And I just broke the relationship off. And so
while you're pregnant?
Yeah. No, when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, hey, God said you're not him. And I was like, but he's never been on child support, never had, when I say he had a beautiful situation, because I told God, one of the things that I did struggle with, and this is, I don't think everybody, this is unedited, cold, hard, raw information that I struggled with the idea of aborting. And so I was riding around in a Mercedes, and every time it went up $500, I had the $500 in the dashboard. Young girl doing her thing. So I think it had got up to like not not $200, just riding around. The dad came, walked me to the abortion door, flew out here, took me to the abortion door for the appointment, and then shut the door and said, I preach against this. Why would I let you do it? And so God said, and then I repented and I prayed and prayed and prayed. And my baby is like the greatest blessing ever. When I say her story is amazing, she has an amazing story. She's a miracle child anyway, because a little bit before that, doctor said I couldn't have kids.
Oh, wow.
And so I ain't gonna get into all that, but.
And with your daughter, because you mentioned to me, and I've seen on your social media, she already has her own business. Mm-hmm. What are her businesses like? What does she do?
So she owns a vending machine company. It's rapidly growing. So listen, y'all need some vending machines, let us know. She's currently up to 10 machines.
What?
The snack and sodas. But we also have like the little machines where just the little candy that you put the quarters in. So we have like 20 or 30 of those. And so she wanted to do it. I had no idea. She came to me one day, saw it on TikTok, and I said, if you do it, you have to write me a proposal. She had a whole PowerPoint with why vending machines are important, how they can help the kids, da-da-da. She did me a whole presentation. I said, so she asked me, would you invest in my idea? And so I gave her the money up front to do it, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since. Yeah.
Wow, how long has she been having it running now?
It's 3 years.
So at 9 years old, she started it?
Yep.
Wow, baby genius. What?
Wrote it all out, know how to tell you that you need to find this first, you need to do this. She did her research. I love that little kid. She always do some amazing stuff.
So I'm gonna circle back to something you said earlier about I think you said the different voices that God will use for you. Mm-hmm. And you said there's different kind of voices in your friends and all these things. I remember one time we were talking and you said how I told you my story about how, I was drinking problem and fell a 4-story window. And you said I never thought about it in this way. You said how sometimes the people around you don't know your crying language. Do you remember that?
I'm trying to think. Ooh, I can't remember what I said.
I should have recorded it.
Ooh, you should have.
But you said something along the lines of like certain things I was doing, the people around me weren't familiar with it as like me crying out for help.
Got you. I could kind of pick it up in my spirit. It's one of those things where if I'm in something with you, there's no way I can see you ever needed help because I'm in it with you. And so a lot of times people don't want other people to get better for the simple fact that now who am I going to do all the stuff that I once did it with? And so everybody ain't happy about your healing. There's people that's still mad probably without even telling you. And so one of the things is that a lot of times they can't see it. They don't even realize it's a cry for help. They don't realize that everything that I'm doing, but it's always the one friend. It's the one friend that irritates you the most, that get on your nerves. The one that you absolutely want to get away from is the one you start calling the less, is actually the one that's sent by God. The one that be like, hey, don't do that. Hey, nah, let's not go. Hey, you need to change. You get tired of hearing that voice without even realizing that's the voice that God is actually using. And we'll go to the other people because they make us comfortable in the mess we were once in.
So what about the people on the other end of the stick? The ones who are, like you said, who hate that you're healing and hate that you're not who you used to be. Do you think they purposely?
No.
You know what I mean? Or it's just like subconsciously, they don't even know they're hating, or they don't even know that they're upset that you're changing.
Sometimes they don't know. Even Jesus picked his own enemy. He had an enemy on his team too. And so
who's his enemy?
Judas.
I don't know much. That's what I'm asking.
He had an enemy named Judas that he handpicked. So you picked your friends. And so as you guys are growing and changing, they become irritated because they don't even realize it's an internal battle. When you're talking about alcohol, drugs, addictions, those are internal battles that is beyond you, that you don't even know that there's a higher force. So the people around you that just want to keep you in it, they don't even know they're being used by the enemy.
One thing I did notice for sure when I began to stop drinking and so that, I noticed the invites were less reoccurring. You know what I mean? Less invited out to do certain things, or less. And then initially, when I very early in my sobriety journey, it used to hurt my feelings. I used to be like, damn, like, all right. But I think it's dangerous when you're able to sit alone and sit with your feelings and learn yourself. It's dangerous in the sense of, nah, I don't care. Like if they do stuff, they get together or whatever without me, it don't even bother me no more. It just means that's not even a place or space I need to be in. But yeah, I definitely noticed it. It's when you give up shit, people literally, no more hit ups to come get together. And yeah, go ahead. That's all I said about that.
No, as you were talking, the reason why that hurts, and it actually, the funny thing is how you viewed it was wrong. Not what they were doing was wrong. When we stop and take a step back, because this happened to me, what you're talking about, but it wasn't drugs and alcohol. When I became a pastor, my invites got less and less and less. Why? People began, God showed me one day, I said, God dang, everybody acting funny, da-da-da-da-da. And God said, no, they respect you more. Because they see how serious you are. Why would I take you to a place that you've shifted from that place completely? It was no disservice to you or to me. It wasn't even disrespectful. It was the fact that I honored and reverenced what you were doing so much that I refused to put you in that situation that you could backslide and not be responsible.
Ooh.
And so, because then that's on my hands. Like imagine them inviting you to something and you slide back to the very place you got from. Nobody wants that on their hand as a friend. That's not a good friend. So the fact that they didn't invite me, God said, is because they reverence who you are now. You're no longer just Amy. You're Pastor Amy. So they see you in a whole different light. And I stopped taking it personal and started like, oh, okay, thank you that you didn't invite me. Because one, they know they don't want to do it in front of us because who wants the pastor there? Now you drinking, smoking, turned up, cussing. And the ones that did invite me, I noticed that they had little reverence or honor. They would be like, oh, that's Jess. Oh, this Jess. But the other people that didn't invite me is because they really was like, no, I hold you up here. And so I wouldn't bring you back here. So it's a matter of just shifting. And guess what? They can't go where you were going anyway, because sometimes God got to use somebody to go get free to go back and get them. There's going to be some of them that your story is going to save, but you needed to get out first because he knew you could do it. Some of them ain't strong enough yet, but you're going to be the one to help them hold their hands up.
Like Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, she went back.
I'm the Harriet Tubman alcohol is what you're saying.
And some people didn't even leave with Harriet Tubman. They did not want, there's some people so comfortable in what they're doing that they just going to die in it. And we can't even feel bad because you making a choice every day. I'm telling you, there's another way, and this life is better, and you can still turn up, you can still have fun. I can still get the same excitement you get without the stuff that's gonna kill me. And some people will still turn it down. So can't feel bad about it.
Ooh, that's a word right there. Harriet Tubman, yeah.
Harriet Tubman effect. Huh?
I would have freed them all from sobriety if they would have just knew. So. When you transitioned, and you said you became a pastor, you became a speaker, you also mentioned, were you nervous? That you wanted to create a platform to help people find their speaking voice.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. How'd that come about? What's the
first thing that I did was it was a masterclass called Find Your Voice.
Okay.
A lot of people got stories that they refuse to tell because one, their story is still locked up in the opinions of others. And the moment you care about what other people think, you can't really help people until you're free from telling the unadulterated truth. Like, I love your podcast because you always tell, like, to hear the story and to see where you are now is so beautiful. To see how you fell off of a building. What floor? How many floors was it?
4 floors.
4 stories. Could have died. Should have died probably, but yet you're here to tell it. And so that's a part of finding your voice. You could have hid that. You could have just polished yourself up and wanted to look pretty to the world, but yet you scale it back, you pull back the onions, and you tell them all the truth about the steps, the process, the cycles. I don't know if there's been any relapses, but whatever the case may be, because I think it was, right? Then you after the 4th story fall, then you go back.
Yeah, I drank for 8 more years still.
See?
Yeah.
Listen, talk about me, talk about it. You talk 8 more years. And so finding your voice is about that. Is some people's voices have been stolen. Their innocence, whatever it is. So finding your voice is, I know I have a story that the world needs and somebody is waiting for me to tell it. I just got to find it. I have to find the courage. I have to find the clarity. I have to find the confidence. I have to find all of the things in order for me to be able to tell the story, but tell it effectively enough where it triggers change in other people. Because you can't tell it from a hurt place. You have to tell it from the healed place. you can't tell it when you're still in it. You have to tell it when you come out of it. And so, the finding your voice, that's what it's about. Understanding how you speak and who you speak to. What's my audience? What knowledge do I have to give? Because a lot of people, they don't think that they have anything to share, not knowing that they really do.
Yeah, I've met people. I feel like I don't know about you, but when I've gotten coaches and I get around people like you who are inspiring me to feel, and I get around other people who are unsure of their voice or anything, but I know they have something in them. Like, you can be a speaker or you can do this. And it's crazy how so many people instant answer is, no, I can't. I'm just this or I'm just that. And I'm like, nah, man, you cannot belittle yourself so quickly. And It's unfortunate that's people's almost natural reaction. I was talking to somebody yesterday how, you know Kanye West? Mm-hmm. He had a quote in a song where he said, I'll never grow up, I'm a grown-ass kid, right? And I like that because I think us as humans, we forget that kid we were. Because as kids, what are you? You're so mad, anything's possible to you because you don't know nothing yet. You're not conditioned about anything in your environment or anything. You think you can do literally anything. But then we get conditioned as we grow up. Yep. We start worrying about how we look. We start worrying about this.
Right.
We're limited because our parents only got to a certain point.
Right.
And I just wish more people, I'm opened up into that space where I honestly feel anything's possible. I definitely do. Because you're talking to somebody who fell out a 4-story window.
Right.
That's not common.
Right.
And to keep drinking and still get another opportunity, I really feel like I can do almost anything. And that experience, man, it was tragic, but at the same time, falling forced window, it gave me so much confidence. Once I was able to heal and own it, because now I'm like, oh, bro, I did that. There's nothing I can't do.
Right. And that's the beauty of it. That's your triumphant story. And so there's a few stories that each person's supposed to have, but that's the one that.
What are they? What do you mean within the speaking?
Yeah, there's different types of stories that one should have. It just depends on the different stages. Like,
okay.
Of course, you need the pit story, right? Like, and that's the falling off the fourth story and almost dying and all that. That's the sorry story. But then you have to have the apex part where you begin to tell what's the outcome. What am I doing now? How did I triumph over it? But all of it can be in one story, but then there's just different stories that you have. There's a selling story where I'm going to lead people to buy something. There's a story that you're just being introduced to me. So you just have to write those different details out like a movie, but the stories mean something different. I don't have all my notes so I could give you some breakdowns, but I'll send it to you at a later date.
With you and your speaking, everything you just said now, how did you go about learning that? Was it just through experience? Did you go through courses? Did you study people?
No, absolutely. I'm even now learning. Every Saturday, I'm in different type of classes to learn about how to be one of the greatest oracles on the planet. And so, like you said, imagination, speaking and communication is one of the highest paid fields on the earth. People just want to know, how did you do it? Because like you just said, somebody said, I'm just this and I'm just that. Those are the perfect people to say, hey, let me take you to the next level because there's really something here, but you're so afraid. And so I need to help you get out of your way. So coaches, courses, classes, conferences, I'm in all of them. You got to I listen to, of course, Les Brown, of course, Brian Tracy. Of course, there's one man, his name is, I took some of his classes, Andy Hernandez. He has great ones. I have friends that are speakers. Oh yeah, he is dope. That's where I learned my different stories that I needed from his class. So I'm always looking for opportunities to pull in. I've even taken coaching program with, her name is Sonia. Miss Sonia, I can't think of her last name, Sterling.
Is she a doctor? No.
Yep, doctor.
Dr. Sonia Sterling?
There you go.
The coach, the ex-military lady?
Yep.
I just came across her maybe a week ago. Man, she was on this gentleman, Brian Shands. Is it Brian Shands? David Shands, I'm sorry. He has a podcast and he has speakers on, and he had a podcast summit, and he had her on, and he has a coaching program he does for people to help them build their podcasts and stuff. But he was talking to her to learn how can he get bigger packages with coaching.
Got you.
And she said she has different tiers. So like the lower tier is like 25,000. Then it goes up to 350. And then she has like a yearly mastermind. Yep. So the goal is to get people to get in the door, get into the bigger package, but then eventually get into the year mastermind.
And she learned that from Myron Golden.
Exactly. She said she paid $500,000.
Yep.
for his program.
He has one that I think is like $1 million.
Yes, she does too. She said she has $1 million offer. Nobody's bought it yet, but she has it. And she said when she learned from Myron was a lot of stuff she kind of knew, but she said she learned how to do it better and faster.
There you go.
And her main point was you got to be the client you want to attract.
Yeah.
So you're trying to charge people $25,000.
You be willing to pay
you paid $25,000?
Absolutely.
And I'm like, man, and it's crazy her journey because of she was a military combat vet, 20 years, and then now is like a very successful coach, business coach. And when I heard those prices, it's crazy because now I'm in a space in life where I'm like, oh my God, I'm more inspired and motivated. Like, okay, I can work up to that point. Like I felt
absolutely
pulled to try to do that now because it's possible.
Oh no, it's absolutely possible, and I believe that you'll get there. It's all, like she said, it's all about packaging it properly where it makes it worth it.
Yeah.
Anytime where value exceed price, the people want it. So like if there was a Lamborghini, I said, oh, it was $1,000. You're not going to say that that's too much money because why? The value of what you're looking at looks more than the cost. So you're going to go find $1,000. But if I say, here go, I need 50,000 and it's a Pinto, you're gonna be like, no, because it doesn't look like it. So, but it's gonna come. I think it's gonna happen. You're gonna put those packages together, and so am I, where we have $1 million offer. Man, Myron Golden, he's one of my.
He's great.
Yeah. Oh, that's one of my virtual mentors. I'm on his Bible study all the time. Actually, got the opportunity. I'm gonna be going to Florida to sit in his live Bible study, and so that's gonna be.
He told
amazing.
A story. Also, he talks a lot about sales and stuff, and he said how it was a crazy story. I liked his mindset because he says when things are priced, right, sometimes people are like, oh my God, that's so much money or anything like that, as opposed to thinking, okay, what could I do to get the money to pay for that? Mm-hmm. You know, get another course, get more clients, whatever. He said he flew in a commercial airline, Delta or Southwest, and he hated it. Mm-hmm. He was like, you know what, I need to fly private. So he went, did the math. It was like $7,000 per hour or something. And he was like, okay, how much is it going to cost to fly private for a year? $1.7 million. So what he did is he went in the lab, created a new offer.
Right.
Increased the speaking prices.
Right.
And then he made within his course 3.6.
Listen, I've seen him make $1 million.
And also, but with the jet, what he does with the jet, he turns it into a course. He offers people X amount of money, and on that private jet flight, he's teaching you something.
See,
I'm like,
that's
man,
an asset. That's how you turn a liability into
crazy.
Into an asset.
That is wild.
That's dope.
But it's a whole mindset shift.
That is. That is when you can make the liability become an asset where it makes you money. Imagine, I'll give you 2 hours with me. We're gonna fly from here to here, and you can ask me anything you want. You can record it. You can take all the pictures. You're in this atmosphere, this environment, all of that. You know how mind blowing it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things that I live by. What you said, he said, we don't, in my house, and that's like when you talked about my daughter, one of the things she's never been taught is we can't afford it. We don't even speak that type of language in our home. How can we afford it? Hey, figure out how can you do this or how can we increase this? We're always figuring out the how to. We never worry about like, oh, that costs too much. Nah, Amy, what do you have on the inside of you that you could produce something, because we've all been given the ability to produce. That's Bible. That was one of the first commands that God gave us is be fruitful and multiply, subdue, meaning dominate, produce. So when multiplication means I need to go out and produce something, but he already gave it into me. He already gave it to us. Like God already put success in you. Like when you started this podcast, it was already success. We think, oh, the more numbers. No, if I just shift one life, that's all I needed. Because that one life can be the access to 1 million other lives. You don't know who's the one person watching late at night and they scrolling and they need to hear what you said or what I said. So, yeah.
And okay, so back to your speaking. Do you remember your first paid gig?
I do.
How was that talk?
But it was church.
Okay.
So it was church.
Oh, okay. Well, let me say this. What was your first paid speaking gig outside of what you're used to knowing, like outside of church, and they had you on? How was it? Do you remember any mishaps? Were you nervous?
I wasn't nervous, but I remember almost missing an opportunity because I didn't charge enough. And so when we sent over the writer and what I would charge, they said, no, you're not our person. And so I asked the lady that was my coach at the time, she wanted to speak. She knew the host. So she said, well, why? And she said, because our budget is this, and she didn't charge this, so apparently she doesn't. So people will see this because you're rejecting and you're propelling at the same time.
Yeah.
If I charge $1,000, right, the mindset is I'm going to get $1,000 people. So the $1 million person don't want to come where the $1,000 people is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So therefore, when I raised my prices, I actually got better people, better events. And because they were like, okay, she must have something to say because it's worth the price. So I almost missed out on the opportunity. But I did good. No, I crushed it. I'm always nervous. People be like, do you get nervous? What? I'd be beyond nervous. But something, again, the Holy Spirit just boom. And when the light's on, whole new person.
Won't he do it?
Ooh. Oh yeah. But yeah, I've had times where I've done bad, where I think I did bad. And I'm always my worst critic. Because people be like, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. I'm like, what? That was so terrible.
And one thing that surprised me, or was not even surprised, did surprise me when we were talking on the phone one day and I told you a little bit of my story and this and that, and you were able to pull it into 4 or 5 different talks.
Right.
And I'm like, man, that's a skill.
That's a gift.
Because I'm getting there, but I'm not there yet. To where I was like, I never thought you could use my story into this kind of way or that kind of way. What did you, or how did you, I know you said the courses and all that, but was anybody particular, any course particular that helped you get that skill?
That ain't even a skill. That's a gift. Being able to analyze information when I hear it. Remember, I'm a preacher. So I can take something and translate it into 50. I could take one scripture and get 15 different outlooks that'll produce 15 different sermons. So when I hear stories, your story is nothing different than a story I'm reading in the Bible. I can take it and hear it and say, hey, here is your steps right here. Here is a system that you didn't even realize that you were doing. Here's a strategy you didn't even realize you were saying. And so one of my actual gifts remember I told you I used to help the women? That's how God helps me generate a lot of money in my business, is because I can find all the money you leaving on the table that you didn't even realize this could be this, and this. And I'll find the 7 streams of income that you need for your millionaire, whatever. And so it's a gift. That's a pure gift that I can hear you say something and say system, okay, strategy, okay, process, okay, this is how you sell it, this is how you package it, this is how you put it together, and this is how you put it out into the market.
Damn. So with all that, and so you mentioned you had the first mastermind you did. What was it called again? I'm sorry.
Finding Your Voice.
Finding Your Voice.
Yeah, Find Your Voice.
What else have you done, or are you going to be doing within that speaker?
Oh my gosh, I've done a lot of events as it relates to just speaking, but one of my programs that I have coming up is called Speak Your Way to Success. One of the things that I told God is the only thing I want to do is speak. I just want to, of course, that comes with coaching and training and business, but I want to speak my way to success, because everything God did was spoke. All he did was speak of something, and it happened. So if I could speak my way to success, I could help other people speak, and it's going to be a training course. I've already worked it all out. You've been on top of me and on my head.
Wow. And when does it drop?
It's coming 2025. Get ready.
Okay, you got 3 months.
I got 3 months. 3 months to put into work, but it's already built out. I've already built out the video's been recording. I just completed a ebook that's super dope. It's called the seven steps to getting your first speaking gig. And I talked about how I didn't have a big audience. I didn't have a huge following. I wasn't some super micro influencer. Like, all of that stuff is starting to happen.
Yeah.
But before I even got my first page, I wasn't doing any of that. And just the little shifts that I had to do in order to come to the next level, and how it actually offended a lot of people too. People don't realize when you elevate, I had people that was mad, like, oh, she thinks she better than people. Oh, she thinks she all that. But they didn't realize I had to go here, because how could I come back and teach you how to get here too? And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's wild, because with your Instagram, I don't see too much about speaking, or like it's in your profile, but it's not like you are posting all the time. You had a speaking engagement, or you doing this and that, but yet you're still a paid speaker consistently. Interesting, because there's people who have followings and they probably don't even get that.
No. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna actually shift. I'm gonna start shifting to where you can see more speaking. I have it up there, but what I did was, when the event's in, I take the flyers off of my page.
Yeah, me too.
But I think I'm gonna start leaving them. I think people do need to see. I need to post more clips, because social media is so powerful. It's such a tool that it puts you in the hands of the world in moments. What bigger stage can God give you than social media if you use it? If you're not making money on social media, you're doing social media wrong. Social media is not to be social. It is to add value to people socially, so that it can create the life that you want to. I was listening to Myron Golden this morning in my classroom, and he said that YouTube paid for his jet. He bought like a plane, or he had bought something. I don't know if it was a jet. No, his studio. He built a studio in his house, and he said YouTube, and he said something into every listener that you might want to take this away, because we are in the quarter, the last quarter. He said, in 10 years, if you started today and you had 10 years to build up a following of 1 million people, he said, it'll take you 10 years. He said, but here's the thing, here's the kicker, that 10 years is going to happen whether you do it or not, so you might as well do it.
Yeah.
He was like, why would you just waste 10 years? Because in 10 years, it's going to happen regardless, so you might as well do it. And that's what I kept hearing. You might as well do it. Because I've been thinking about YouTube. I haven't really been putting videos out, but like YouTube has been like heavy in my spirit.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Mine as well. That's why I'm trying to plan out my content schedule moving forward and towards the end of the year. Because I do upload this podcast, that's only once a week.
Mm-hmm.
So from what I've seen other people doing, it's the consistency. They got to see more, also shorter types of videos, because not everybody wants to sit and listen to an hour-long conversation. They don't have time or anything like that. And a friend of mine, she is making 6 figures a year, and she's been posting on YouTube consistently for years. Like all September, her goal was, I'm posting a video every day. And I was like, every day? Oh man. And it's great when you get around people like that, because it makes you think, okay,
I'm slacking.
Yeah, for real.
Pure laziness.
And it's beautiful, because she's at a point to where I want to be monetized on YouTube how she is. Like we're kicking it, eating lunch, and she's getting sales and whatever, getting paid off YouTube and Instagram, just based off the consistency of it.
Right.
So I've been getting better consistently with especially, or at least on Instagram. I've been posting at least 2-3 times a day, and I've seen my following go up.
Oh yeah, I've even seen it.
Which is, I like when it's organic. I don't want to pay for followers. I don't want to pay for ads. I want people to follow me because somebody shared it to them or whatever the case may be. I was going to ask you, said something earlier. To the social media thing. It's crazy, because when you date people, you could definitely learn lessons, right?
Elaborate.
Well, I speak for myself. I was dating a girl at one point, and she, maybe 2 years ago now, and she would always tell me, because I was working for myself and so was she was like, you got to stop using social media so much for entertainment and understand you need to use it for as a business. And I was like, damn, you're right. She was like, yeah, you're doing all these charity events and all that. What are the charities going to think when they scroll your Instagram? You're following all these certain women and certain things, like, I'm like, you're kind of right. So I gradually started unfollowing just anything that wasn't really in a line with what I was trying to become or feeling inspired by. Like if you're just posting bottle service every weekend, or you're posting,
you're losing business that way too.
Yeah. And I'm just like, that's not really, if I'm scrolling through my phone, I see that it's not really helping me feel anything.
Right.
So then I went and started following, being more intentional, following certain motivational pages, certain speakers, certain fitness coaches. Because the more I see them, I feel like the more it helps me get creative.
Right.
But then it brings me across people like you.
Yeah.
Because literally Ann, shout out to Ann McDowell, financial coach.
Ooh, hey.
She'll be on in 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I seen it.
She's coming on 3 weeks.
I think it's the day before my birthday.
Oh, you're one of those. But anyways, so
what's that supposed to mean?
I don't know. What is that? What is your sign?
Oh Lord, Scorpio.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't follow signs though.
Listen. But she reshared you, and I was like, oh, who's this? And I went and I saw everything in your bio, speaker, all those things. I'm like, that's who I want to be around and be involved with. So I need to follow, and then I reached out, and then it was a great connection.
Right.
Because I want to meet people and be around people who are already doing it.
Right.
So I can learn, get tips, get steps, or somehow add value to them, but also get inspired and motivated. Because we sat down one time, you gave me all these ideas of how to start making money outside of just my in-person stuff, digital products and things like that. And I never even thought about that.
Right.
So I saw that to say is people need to understand social media isn't always for entertainment. If you want a good way to be successful is use it for business in a proper way.
Oh, absolutely.
But I also feel like a lot of people they need the entertainment. Listen, hold on, put it this way. Average person that's working their 9 to 5, they're there, 8 hours, 9 hours, the drive home, all that. Now they're home with the kids, this and that. They have no more time to themselves. So they're using the little time they have to get entertained and let their mind
Yep.
Just be free, which is great. I mean, I've been trying to learn to do that more lately. I've caught myself the past month becoming, again, an information hoarder, what I like to call it, where you're just watching this video about that and then trying to learn this and then learn that. So now I got all these podcasts and information ideas, but I've yet to put it into action.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get myself out of that and shut things down at a certain time and give myself an hour at the end of the night to just watch some comedy or just to decompress and not think about work.
Okay.
But I've just been feeling this like the bamboo's about to come out of that damn soil. I could just feel it. So then I'm just like at home all day on my laptop, like this idea, that idea, and then writing some things out. But I'm trying to reel myself back in, like I said, not be information hoarder, which I think a lot of people are.
Right.
A lot of courses, a lot of seminars, a lot of videos, a lot of this. And I think it's important to grab one, implement it the best you can, and then evolve to the next step.
Absolutely. I love that. Information hoarder.
Yeah, I got it from Eric Thomas.
Yeah, no, I like that. Because that's one of the things that I definitely help people with, go from idea, like you were talking about, you get all of these ideas from idea to implementation, and to income, because that's the ultimate goal. Once I implement, I need to get paid for all this stuff that I'm doing. But no, you're right. But I guess it's how you want to use it. That's actually been my issue with posting the stuff that I want to post, because I'm torn. Do I do stuff that's entertaining or do I do stuff that's educational? Because right now we are in a season where everybody wants to be entertained.
So, okay. One thing this gentleman told me, it was interesting information. I kind of on the fence with it, how to take it, but he said when they stop buying what you're selling, you sell them what they want to buy.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I feel that within context, depending on what it is.
Right.
And back to what you said, the world wants to be entertained.
They are.
But they also need education.
They do.
So my advice, I'm not a social media guru, but I know for me, when I see people, and what I try to give is the authenticity of myself. So they need to see Amy as a mother, fun, doing all these cool things, silly things, whatever it is you like to do, TikToks with your daughter. But then boom, you hit them the next day with that real powerful message. It's only going to connect you to more people.
Right.
A great thing I heard, are you familiar with Omar?
Omar who?
His last name is Qatari, I think. He's always with Myron Golden. He has glasses, social media guy. He's out here in Vegas.
He's a
pastor at City Lights. So they're good buddies, right? And Omar's real good with podcasting and teaching you how to get views and, monetize, all these things. And they got connected because Omar was posting that he golfed. So Myron looked and was like, oh, you golf? Me too. Let's go hit the thing. And they pretty much said like how it's important that you do show who you are as a person because you're connected to different people. So if they see you making TikToks with your daughter, somebody who has a son making TikToks, like, what, her too? And she's a speaker?
Right.
And she got this digital product?
Right.
And just like that, you gain another client by being your true self.
That's true.
I've
been trying to balance it though. It's been a struggle. I think my hardest part is because I have that pastoral side.
Yeah.
It has been one of those things where it's like, how do you show the playful side while yet still trying to save somebody's soul? But we do need to have that balance, because I'm sold out right now, Colorado Buffs. So I'll be watching football, but it's something that just absolutely just came. And that's my form of entertainment, because I've been telling God, like, I need some balance. I'm always doing something positive. I'm always somewhere, but I think I need to share it too. Like you said, I think I need to start putting some recaps and, hey, this is my day, or day behind the scenes, or day in the life of a pastor, speaker, mother, business owner, like all the things, like all the different hats, like, hey, this hat, and like let people see, how do you balance all this stuff?
Yeah.
How do you do all this stuff? And then have friends and try to build healthy relationships with other people. You had an event, showed up there, like how do you make time for what? So I think I do need to share.
Imagine if you, as a Colorado Buffs fan, you are at a game, or you're at wherever you're at, you're watching the game with your friends, family, you post a video and you make a cool, fun reel, like Sunday or Saturdays with the pastor or whatever. You hashtag Colorado Buffalo and all that. Next thing you know, Deion Sanders is reaching out to you because he saw you through the hashtag, and now you're speaking with Deion Sanders.
I need to be there.
Do you see what I'm
one
saying?
of my goals is to go speak in that locker room.
Let me say this to people. Hashtags are important. People try to tell you they're not. But I did a fitness event. I'm still doing it. Did it yesterday, today. I'm doing it tomorrow. There's a annual conference in town.
Okay.
It's the Women of Color Council.
Okay.
It's all women of color lawyers.
Nice.
And they're here for their 20th year anniversary. And the lady who put it together found me through Instagram on hashtags and hired me to come do a morning workout for them 3 days.
That's what's up.
I was like, Instagram? They got Issa Rae speaking there, Tay Diggs.
That is so good.
Yeah, I'm hoping I get like a pass tomorrow to go and I can see Issa Rae, see Tay Diggs, and Susie Orman is there.
Always negotiate that in your speaking packets.
Well, I wasn't speaking, I was just doing fitness, but
I don't care.
Still.
If you hire me to come be, even if I get to be a part of any parts of it, always negotiate that in your rider. Put that in there. Some of the things that I've learned to add over the years, it took time to say, hey, wait, I need this, and because this cost me this much to do this, or like you said, hey, can I come for a free day just to? So I was telling you earlier that I did a mastermind with some millionaires, and so they were gonna go ride the fast cars at Speedway, and I got to ride a Ferrari. But I asked the speaker. That was one of the things that he was like, "Oh, we had some adventures," and I was like, "Well, do you think I can come to one?" He said, "Yeah, pick any one you want to go, and we'll add it to what we're doing for you." And I was like, "Great!" And so I got to be in the house and eat chef. Like they had a chef and all this stuff, and he was like, "Listen, you get to do the whole experience just because you're a part, and just because I said yes to him." It's all about asking. You don't have because you don't ask. All I got to do is say, hey, do you think I could get a media pass to come in and just sit down and watch some of the information? I'm sure they'll say, yeah. Chances are most people don't say no.
The lady is amazing. And it's great that it's all women of color lawyers. And that's just amazing. I didn't know 20 years they've been having it. For the speaking, in the beginning when you started, were you ever doing outreach in a sense of like reaching out to people because you not yet booked or anything?
By the grace of God, I've never reached out to a person until recently. You sent me something and I reached out to them and filled out their thing. But the more there's pay to play, there's actually you getting invited. But I've been lucky enough because most of them have been just people seeing me, or they've been in the room where I was at and they was like, yo, we got to have her. And so they've been personal invites versus me asking to come on. But I think there's some times where I need to pay to play. I think they're coming where I need to actually send my information like, hey, this person will be a great speaker for you.
That's, I heard, I guess, you know who Inky Johnson is?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
That he had told the same gentleman earlier, David, that spoke about David Shands. He said, because David Shands speaks too, he thought he was nice. And he was like, oh, well, are you getting more gigs at the gigs you're speaking at?
Right.
And he was like, well, you're probably not that nice. He's like, all my gigs are at when I'm at an event already. 7, 8 people in the audience hear me. Hey, we need you at our event also.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, damn, okay.
Absolutely.
He mentioned a book. I'm gonna start reading it. Hopefully I have it at home, called Resonate.
Okay.
He said, I guess Inky Johnson, that was the book that helped him create like the visuals with the storytelling.
Okay.
And I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll read it and see.
Yeah. I'm gonna get one too.
What would you say for people in the speaking space who are again looking to get started? Because obviously it's not easy. It's you could be shy. You can be unsure of your message, like you said. What are some tangible things they can take stepwise to like push forward through with it and get going?
I use a few formulas. I have a formula called SPEAK. So SPEAK, the first one. The S stands for select the topic, or your story. Find your story, right? What's the thing you want to share with the world? Then the next one is P, is to prepare the talk. So you want to make sure you get it together. Like I select something, now I need to prepare. And I have multiple for this speak formula, and I'm just giving y'all this one. The E is for just an engage or excite or educate, determine what you want to do. How do you want to make the audience feel when you're doing this? Then A, of course, know your audience. You have to know who you're speaking to, why you're speaking to them, and how you want to help them. And so I have a principle called the FACT method. So how you want them to feel, what's the action you want them to take, what's the change you want to make in them, and then T is what's their takeaway or their tip that you can leave them with. So you got to give them a fact, give them the facts.
Wait, what was the K for speak?
I'm about to do it. And then the last one is knowledge. The K is knowledge. Know your stuff. You have to know. You can't speak about something you don't know nothing about. So get in there, get your hands dirty, Be willing to do a few things for free. Here's some pro tips when you're first starting. Don't be afraid. Don't be so prideful that you won't take a speaking audience or a speaking engagement that doesn't pay you. Know who's in the room, because again, what did Inky say? There's people in this room that may pay me. I just need to get behind the scenes. I need to get footage. I need to get pictures. That's what you do that stuff for. Get in there and start building your page. Let people see you out here speaking, and use those as ways to perfect your craft. Get the nervousness out of you and all of that. And then once you have the things and you put it together properly, now you can start charging because you have all the things. But never be afraid not to take one, because there's big rooms that you might not get paid to do, but it have the people you need to meet. It have the opportunities that you want. And it has the exposure that you need. And so those are the things that you need to make sure you're paying attention to.
And not even speaking, business in general.
Absolutely.
When it comes to the free stuff, like I've done it a lot of times to where I always see it as opportunity, you know, especially with the speakings. I'm still getting newer into it. And there's speaking engagements I've been to, it turned into a personal training client.
Right.
Or turned into different things. And I told somebody recently this because she was trying to do her fitness thing and was like, oh, well, I can't afford to do free this. And I'm like, that's just how it's going to go. You're nobody right now, to be honest, with all due respect. Until your name is out there, unless you're Nike or you're something, you got to be willing to do some free stuff for a little bit, but give them a great value to where you come to my workout for free, but it was so good and you loved it. Now you're coming back with Lorraine, your homegirl. Now I got 2 people paying the next time. So now instead I got 0 at first, but now y'all both come and getting 50 now.
So let me give you the 3-3-3 formula. This is something that I learned. Remember, we talk about classes, and so 3-3-3. You don't give the 3 free to just anybody. That's part of the problem. You giving it free to your mama, your auntie, and your uncle. Those are not the 3 free, or your 3 best friends. No. Go get powerful people of influence that need your service and do it for them for free. See, we think what we miss sometimes is, no, I want to charge that person. No, that's the one you go get it for free, because they going to go tell, or they have the platform. It's other people. It's leverage. Oh, they got a platform. So let me do this, because that's how I got connected to some of the people that I've met in the speaking realm, is by first offering something that can help them. I tried to help them first before I tried to take, because everybody around them is what? Taking. So I was like, let me use a different strategy. Let me help first. And then it opened up so many doors. So first 3, people of influence, ask for a video, ask for a testimonial, ask for something that they could put your name out there with their picture. Because I'm doing something for free, this is what I'm asking in return, right? Then the next 3, half price. You do it for half price, but these are still people of influence. And then ask the top 3 for some referrals. Hey, what do you think about my services? Do you know anybody that can, or whatever the case may be? Or let's set up something, because as you're working with them, talk a little business. Yeah. You're dripping pitches in there. And so, and then the last 3 are going to be full price. And then that's when you have a camaraderie of people, things that you got pictures, you got testimonials now. You're using all of these things. And then now that's when you start building all the other stuff that you already have, your digital products, because you always, listen, everybody got to get something digital. I am a firm believer in digital. It makes money in your sleep, and I only got to create it once. It is the easiest entry way to put something tangible in people's hands, and I don't have to do the work once I did it one time. And so that's I hear my thing go ching, 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 ching. I have so many digital products, and it's sometimes I don't even know where it be coming from. I'm like, what is this? Something I sold on Canva, a prayer book that I created, a devotional, a journal. It'd be all kind of just stuff.
Wow. So as we wrap up here.
Okay.
One question I like to ask people is, what's a piece of advice you can give somebody who is looking to transform and grow as a person? A short and sweet, boom, boom.
Short and sweet. Be willing to die to the version of who you are today to get to the version you are tomorrow. Be okay knowing that there's going to be some people that can't go with where you're going because they don't have the capacity to handle where you're going anyway. They've carried you as far as they can carry you. They've taken you as far as they can go. And do not criticize or be mad at them about it. Just know that you're going to a place that they can't go. It's okay.
Oh, a word. Thank you so much, Dr. Amy Rucker, for coming on, sharing some of your relationship advice, your motivational speaking advice.
It's all in my business
advice. We'll bring you back and get real in depth. I still think it's a little toxic. You cooked him dinner and let him go out on his merry way. But thank you for coming in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Back to kind of what she said. Don't be scared to lose people on your way to finding your new self. Because once you grow and you become a better version of yourself, you can go back and find them if they want to be found. 2 words for you. Keep growing.